everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm trying my hardest to be strong for you now. I just left intake at a new place. I just saw a male nurse practitioner. After pulling up to this new location, there were several men standing outside, and two of them came up to my car. I don't know what they wanted or even what they said, because I cannot even remember anything but blurs of faces and voices and this fear coming over me. I don't know what I was afraid of. I don't know what they wanted, but I immediately turned around and almost left the mental health center. And once they were nowhere near my car, I stopped and I called them and I told them that I need help coming in. And they told me to pull back up in front and park, and then they would come out to get me. And the nurse, she came out to help me, and I really appreciate her. But when she brought me inside and into the room where my therapist is, to wait for the nurse practitioner, there I was being told for the first time that the nurse practitioner is a man. I specifically don't want to see any male doctors or nurses because of how I have been treated throughout this process in my life in regards to sexual violation and fear. So none of this, of course, was taken into account by my new mental health team. I walk into the nurse practitioner's room and he tells me to remove my coat. The first words he says to me, without even introducing himself or knowing that I've been violated by both men and women, he tells me in a room with the door closed to remove my coat. And I begin to break down. And he questions, "What's wrong with you? I don't understand. Just get on the scale. Just sit down here." And then he walks up to me to take my blood pressure. And he touches my breast. And I know he doesn't do it on purpose, but I break down and I cry. And no one understands. And I tried to explain to him how uncomfortable I am. And then I'm given a speech about how he doesn't know me, how he hasn't done anything to me, how he isn't the other doctors, how I did not force him to be here with me, that he hasn't forced me to be here, that he can't even force himself to help me. I don't understand why people keep talking to me like this, and I'm looking for help. reason why I'm afraid of doctors. That's not my fault. That is not something that I did to myself. And after asking me questions and saying, well, you don't have to answer the question. I can't force you to answer the question, and you have to answer the question quickly because there's a long line of people that are waiting after you that I need to help. And so I'm just going to allow you to discuss this with your real therapist. And then he sends me to the psychiatrist that they told me that they don't have here. And he begins to ask me about eating and sleeping and not about my trauma and not about what happened to me 5 months, almost 6 months ago. The reason why I'm here, he does not ask me any of those things, but he writes a prescription for ailments of 20 years ago, of sexual abuse and manipulation from 20 years ago. That is what I've written a prescription for. Not for what has happened to me today. The fear, the anxiety attack that I had today, yesterday, last week, my suicidal thoughts, he doesn't ask about. How I felt when these men walked up on my car. How I feel every time I go into a doctor's office. The fear of never being helped, of never being understood, of constantly being ignored. And then he writes me a prescription for an illness that 7 other doctors never even brought up. I don't know what's going on with the free mental health care industry. I don't know how they are getting away with the things that they are doing to people and the neglect. I feel used and abused by a system that does not even care whether I ever get help. And I don't know what to do. I'm sorry that you have to listen to this message full of tears. And I'm sure one day I will be able to hire someone to write this script. And I will be able to read it without so much pain and so much emotion. So maybe I can really help someone. Because that's the goal. I love you guys, and I'm sorry. I hope this has helped you in some way. Please don't settle. I love you.